If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like and comment on the videos. I hope you enjoy the show. Now, let's go. Hello, Billy Ho here. Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. We are going to start on week 8 of DraftKings main slate Sunday, 11 games. And we are going to do our top game stacks. And I'm kind of finding my way with how I want to do NFL content. And I think I'm going to settle on for a couple of weeks anyway. See how I like it is do like an early look game stack show. And then maybe later on in the week, Thursday, Friday, do like a finalized show, because that's the most not important part, but probably important part of lineup building in DraftKings contests is game stacking, getting the right quarterback like Joe Burrow yesterday. He was the only one that really went off. So if you didn't have Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase to start your lineups with, you were pretty much swimming on a salmon stream. So that's what I want to try to do now. So before we get to that, I still want to remind everybody we got the free NFL contest with $250 for 250 subscribers. Check the link in the description to the Twitter thread, and that will take you right where you want to go, tell you everything you need to know about the contest. Once we hit 250 subs, we run the contest. Get her done. Now, on to week 8, slate of games. KC, Chiefs, and LAC Chargers on bye. Brady and Lamar play Thursday night. Burrow and Allen are all also off the main slate. So we've got another week where we're limited on those big upside QBs. We still have an 11-game main slate with a 7-4 split early-late. And so be sure to stick around, because I got kind of I think maybe even 2 low-key game stacks toward the end of this. Or you can just check the timestamps and go right to it. I don't care if you cheat. Everybody else does it. Let's do it, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at some games. And now what I want to do, emphasize, is we don't have totals yet. So I'm just going off what I think is going to be the higher total games. And I'm probably right on at least 3 of them. So let's go. All right. Well, the first game I'm going to look at probably not going to be the higher total, but I guarantee you it'll have one of the highest implied totals for Philadelphia. And that's, of course, hosting Pittsburgh, and the interstate rivalry. Philadelphia looks like they're really just going to put a beat down on them in this one. But it could be a juicy matchup. We got Hurts at 8,300, A.J. Brown at 77, Devontae Smith at 63, Dallas Goedert at flat 5K. Then we have guys like DJ, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Chase Claypool on the other side. If you wanted to go Pickett, they certainly seem to be letting him throw. I mean, he was not very good last night again at Miami. He threw 3 picks. He did run for 20 yards, but he threw 44 times. So, and that was just in a 16-10 game. So obviously what we're looking at here is they are just going to cut Kenny Pickett loose. And if he screws up or gets hurt, they'll just go with Trubisky. Or B, their O-line is so bad and they just cannot run the ball anyway, and they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to lose. So just cut him loose and let him, take his bumps and bruises and whatnot. So that's kind of how I feel about that one. It is a bit expensive to try to stack that Jalen Hurts side of it with the 8,300. Now, another sneaky stack, like I've mentioned before, this is not just quarterback stacks. This is game stacks. So what you could do is slide on over here and grab you some Miles Sanders and a little Eagles D, and maybe just stack that. Or if you wanted to, it's not like Clay or Pickens is super expensive. You can drop him in if you wanted to do a run back. He's a cheap guy to do so, but those are some ideas. I like that Sanders and Eagles DST because it's hard to pay up for defense, right? 3,900 is a tall price, but if you plug that defense in and just say, I'm sticking with the defense, I'll make it work other ways, that sometimes can lead you to good game stacking because you're not worried about salary. You're not worried about fitting this guy or that guy. You're pretty much committing yourself to having that particular play in the game. So the next game I wanted to talk about is another potential shootout game, which will probably be popular, but it's Arizona at Minnesota. And I think you can stack this one either way. Kyler Murray, ever since he got DeAndre Hopkins back, he's got a guy that he can throw to 10 or 15 times, and he's going to catch most of them, unlike Hollywood Brown, that's going to be 6 for 12. This guy's going to be 11 for 12. So he's going to up his game on his yards, and he's going to up his completions. He's going to up his overall passer rating, obviously. He still has a threat with the legs, and he still also has a guy I thought he would have got more involved in the game, but he still got guys down here like Dortch and Rondell Moore, things of that nature. And another interesting piece of the puzzle is, to me, Robbie Anderson at 4K, who is kind of like the poor man's Hollywood Brown. He's the guy that's going to stretch the defense for him. He only played 12 of the 66 snaps Thursday night, but that was like right after being traded. I think with the loss of, I think they're kind of pushing AJ Green out. He was a DNP, and there's also Wesley, and there's injuries. Marquise Brown's also out, obviously. So I think Robbie Anderson might be sneaky. And at 4K, you only really need that one big downfield bomb play. So he could be a good guy to pair with D-Hop, and that way you're not spending your entire salary on the game. Because if you ran it back, you're probably going to want Jefferson or Cooks, and then you're really in it. So Thielen at 6,200, I think it's very capped upside. I don't like that price for him. I wish he was more like 5,800, because I mean, he is getting between 7 and 9 targets, but his ADOT is really low, and he's very touchdown dependent. So if he doesn't score, he's going to get 6 points, something like that. That's just kind of where I'm getting at there. So I like that game. I think one other caveat I'll mention is Zach Ertz. I don't know if this is going to be a thing or not, but you see, he was, I think, the safety net all this time while D-Hop was out. Well, D-Hop's back. D-Hop is without a doubt the safety net. So I don't think Zach Ertz is going to be getting the 14 to 12 to 14 DraftKings points as the safe floor. I think 5,100 looks like a bust to me this week, although he could catch a touchdown pass and make me look silly. You also have Irv Smith on the other side, who I think you talk about touchdown dependent. That's Irv Smith for you. So I don't know if I wouldn't look at KJ Osborne or anybody, although he does have those outlier games where he might, once ever so often catch a long touchdown or a handful of passes, or if somebody were to get injured and leave the game. So after that, we want to go and take a look at this Miami-Detroit game, because this is another juicy one. I feel really good about Tua having that game under his belt last night. Although he wasn't super great, he still threw it 35 times, 261 and a touchdown. And, he's never really a threat to rush for a lot of yards, but he can sneak in the end zone from time to time. He hasn't done it yet this year, so you never know. But he's going to be better than 15, 16 DraftKings points in this game. I mean, it's Detroit, right? So with Waddle and Tyreek, and Mostert. I think you can work Mostert into it. I felt really good about him playing with Tua and getting 5 targets in that game. He actually caught a touchdown pass. That's really cool. You can get Mostert very cheap, 5,900. He is like not on the, and I don't care about home and road. So the 5 box thing, as long as I get 4, he's got the touches, he's got the receiving, he's got touchdown upside, he gets goal line work. And so all that stuff is good for him. So he can absolutely, if you can't afford to do both Waddle and Tyreek in a lineup, you can split it and do like Mostert Tyreek in one lineup, Mostert Waddle in the other lineup, and keep an eye on. They might activate Jameson Williams if Amon St. Brown doesn't come back. He left early on in this game against Dallas yesterday with a concussion. So with the protocols not being what they are, he's possibly going to miss another week. And they're strict on the protocols, but he was noticeably dizzy leaving the field. So it wasn't like he got hit in the head and they kicked him out of the game and you're all pissed off about it, because he was dizzy. He was staggering off the field and the referee saw him and pointed him over to the tent. So he might miss this week. So keep that in mind. I think this is a complete smash spot for the Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, and Mostert type play. And then you can run, especially if Brown's out. If St. Brown is out, you already know you're locking in TJ Hawkinson as your. I mean, 4,900 is expensive, but we know when ASB misses, he just has to be the guy. Now, I'm not saying you're getting this. You're not getting 179 and 2 TDs, but you're probably getting that 7 targets. You're probably getting 5 for 60 and a touchdown. Maybe. I don't know. He's going to get a double-digit targets if ASB's out, in my opinion. So we'll look at that. Obviously, Miami, I think, gives it up to tight ends myself. I was right about Irv Smith the week before, who scored, and Hawkinson is a lot more involved in the offense than Irv Smith. So keep an eye on that. And that is probably one of your better game stacks. That was the first one I saw. The next one I wanted to talk about is a bit on the sneaky side, but I'll have to tell you in the next show later on in the week for a finalization what I'm going to do with this game, because I don't much care for the New Orleans side, but I really do like the Vegas side. I think after this third straight week of Josh Jacobs breaking the slate with 39 points again and multiple touchdowns, that he's due for a letdown. I think this might be a week where you can snag you some Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Mike Hollins, because I mean he's still got 8 for 95. So I'm definitely looking at Devontae, and Mike Hollins is always involved. I'm glad to see him not hurt. Now he only had 3 targets in that game, but it's hard to share the love. And he can always get behind the defense. Now he is 4,500. He's not in the 3Ks anymore, but I keep an eye on that. And the only guy that really I have much interest in, if Thomas is out again, Landry, we don't know yet, is Olave, because he's just going to get that many. He's just going to get double-digit targets. So if he can score, he'll get you there. 6K's fair. So I do like him as a run back, but he's probably the only one. I don't think I can go Kamara at 71. I know he gets a lot of work and he can score, but he might be in there. But 7,100 trending this year is not paying up for running backs. It's paying down. But that might be a way you can get different. So keep that in mind as well. Now, the last game I wanted to discuss with my peeps is the very end. I think it might be a forgotten game, is the Giants at the Seahawks. And I think the Giants, people will probably, I wonder if they'll chase Danny Jones, because he's been running with reckless abandon here lately. 107 yards in this last game. But he's got 68, 79. he'll take off when it presents itself. And Seattle might be vulnerable to that. I think Kyler Murray, and we got time, so we can just buzz off this game for a brief second and go over here and hit Kyler Murray and see what he did in that Seahawks game. Yeah, 10 attempts, 100 yards. I'm seeing a trend there. So Daniel Jones is going to be in the pool as I don't know if I'll run Geno, but Jones is a good guy to run. And you can pair him with Barkley, and his wide receivers are cheap. Maybe Wandell. Hopefully Kadarius Toney comes back sometime soon. Always a great stack. Geno, I don't know if I'm going to like as much, but his stacking just got a discount because I believe DK Metcalf is going to be out for at least next week. I mean, the knee X-ray came back negative for broken bones, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a bone bruise or a sprained MCL or PCL or some kind of CL. So I will be monitoring that. People might chase Marquise Goodwin if they saw him. I always liked him. When he was at San Francisco a few years ago, he showed potential as a guy who could get deep and catch some and be a real threat. And then he just kind of got traded and dropped off the map for about 2 or 3 years. So I don't really know what the deal is, but he got good targets and he had a 2 TD game. And then you got Lockett at 6,500. So, who are you going to play? You got tight end roulette. You do have Eskridge. Can't talk because I'm from Kentucky. All right, sorry. Some of these words I come across when I'm trying to talk faster, I just stumble over. So forgive me for that. But 3,300 Eskridge. See, I said it right that time. I don't know. That's a punt. So keep an eye on that. I do like these games this week that I've mentioned. So we're going to revisit probably those same games and maybe add or subtract if injuries come in and we see this, that, or the other. So hopefully this new format maybe makes a little more sense for me scheduling wise and play wise. That way I can get out there, I can do some research, I can pick out some games I like right away, even before totals come out, and then have an idea on what I want to do. And then maybe come back later on in the week after we see some injuries and point spreads and things of that nature and see where the public's going. Then we can decide and narrowing in on a strategy on which of these games to play. So I hope you like the show. Don't forget to sub to the channel. The next show will be a more finished product, I do believe. Remember, the 250 subs is the goal. We're already on our way. Let's get this freaking free contest going, man. I want to run this thing soon before, our man Squirrel Man changes his mind and says, I'm not giving you the money. No, I'm kidding. We love you, Squirrel. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for watching.